Hello and welcome to this BB Education Cutter tutorial. Today's tutorial is looking at an inverted bob, an exaggerated A-line shape looking from a shorter length to a longer length at the front with an internally graduated shape to give a soft, curved silhouette accentuating the contrast between how the length travels forward. There's the front and there's the crown. To ensure we get an interlocking feel to this section, we've worked with a zigzag parting, ensuring a very connected look without having to try to blend the lengths together. This helps to interlock and create a seamless transition of shorter sections on the crown and longer sections travelling towards the front. Our section is pulled straight out from the head. Our vertical shape is triangle, which means it's going short to long. But as we get roughly an inch above the nape, we begin to do a chipping technique that allows us to work and keep some length. So let's go through this all again. The elevation is not pulled down, it's pulled straight out. Our vertical shape is short to long. This means it's longer at the top and gradually getting shorter towards the nape. But instead of continuing this section and going all the way down into the nape, we actually work with a slow chipping technique. This means as we move the scissors fast, cutting into the hand that is holding the hair is moving away. This is helping to create a more curved section. So we're going from the section at the top that is short to long, vertically triangular, but as we hit the nape, our section begins to expand longer towards the base. This is helping us how? It's helping us to create an internally graduated shape whilst maintaining length on the perimeter, not losing integrity or creating holes. So now we have section 1 and we have section 2. We're going to be over directing 2 onto the base of 1. This will give us an increase in length travelling horizontally. So section 2 ultimately will be a little bit longer than section 1. So over direction is a control here for us increasing the length to behind the ear. As we do the other side, you'll notice that our finger position is in the opposite position it was on the previous side. In short, this means our scissors are now coming up instead of coming down. So to still create the soft effect we're having on the nape, you curve the scissors upwards, freehanding in a curved section, blending in the desired length you want to the existing internal length you've already created. Now we have both sides complete, you can start to really see the silhouette, how we have an internally graduated shape that is quite short, but we've maintained the integrity of the perimeter and not like in a traditional graduated bob where we would be losing a lot of the length. We've kept it. The weight line and the soft curve towards the nape, accentuating a long inverted bob. We now begin the sides. So the hair is groomed down, and once again we have to remove the excess length. So all the hair is pulled down to a natural fall. It is cut short to long, shorter from the back, longer towards the front. So we're working an A-line shape. We're exaggerating the length towards the front to ensure that it matches up nicely to the end result we're after. We then take a forward diagonal section. The forward diagonal is reasonably close to the vertical to ensure a softer shape. We then take the final section we cut at the back. This is now going to act as our guideline for the front. As we're still going to be over directing onto the previous, we're using the final section we cut at the back as a guideline. Once again, working the vertically triangular shape, and as you get to the bottom, we'll begin to use our chipping technique. But as there's less hair at the sides, we start the chipping technique from a higher position than we did at the back. As there's more hair at the back, we could afford to do that. But now we're at the sides, the hair is less. We have to be a bit more conscientious about maintaining the length. All our sections are over directed onto the previous section, working forward. This will give a slow increase of length opposed to a rapid increase of length that would form an awkward contrast with the shape we've cut at the back. Notice how we're always removing the previous section, ensuring we only have two sections at once so we don't get confused as to where the guide is. Ensuring we maintain length towards the perimeter. This section is the final section and it now completes this side. We groom the hair down to visually assess the effects this technique has had on the outline. You'll see how the outline has become very shattered. This means we will maybe need to take the outline a slightly bit shorter when the hair is dry. We now begin the other side in exactly the same way. Our first step is to coarse remove the excess length. This makes our choice of length more clear when we come to work with the internal lengths. So my advice is when doing a redesign is always remove the excess lengths. Here you'll see we have the same two sections we did on the other side. The final section from the back and the new section from the front, which is working on a forward diagonal relatively close to the vertical section. On this side you'll notice we're once again having to adopt our freehand technique to ensure balance with the other side. Here we have both sides complete. The shape is already looking very nice. We've got a clear graduated shape. Now we're going to dry this section, which may seem a bit strange, but bear with us. We're drying this section off because of the intricacy of the C curve. It'd be very difficult to find this section again once released. So we need to dry these sections down with a wrap drying technique, flattening the root and getting control of how the hair sits. This is going to ensure that we can then decide on the correct length. We can then decide on the methods of texturizing needed to perfect the look. Once the roots are dry, I'm now working with a ceramic brush to ensure I get a slight bend to the ends of the hair and get a smoothness to the cuticle. Now we have both sides complete and dried. We put a small black clip to hold the hair in place as we review the haircut. The haircut is sitting nice and seamless, but we need to review the outline and we need to review the internal shape. One of the first things I prefer to do is to go through with a razor and begin to soften the external shape. It's sometimes easier to see how much length to remove if you've thinned certain areas out first. So I'm using the razor here to sculpt and accentuate my graduated shape and to thin and soften the external shape, making it easier when I come to use the scissors to choose the correct length. I'm now using a pointing and chipping technique to remove the length, opposed to just club cutting the hair straight across. This will give me much more softness and it will give me much more ease with maintaining consistency in how the outline is sitting to how the internal shape is sitting. It's important at this point that you don't try and create too much of a blunt or sharper shape. So ensure that when you are point cutting, you are cutting into the hair as well to retain the softer perimeter and not re-establish a blunt one. Once we have the length where we want it, we'll review the internal shape. I'm working with horizontal sections and I'm parallel point cutting just through the ends. This means I won't remove too much weight, but I'm softening the haircut, allowing a more interchangeable quality to the shape. Removing bulk like this will make it easier for your client to texturize and manipulate the shape of the hair. We've completed the side elevation. We're going to take the guideline created from the line at the side and work that into the nape. We need to be sure that we're constantly keeping the line soft. So we're using a chipping technique, which is like pointing, but we go deeper into the hair. This gives a more shattered and softer end result. We've also done some surface cutting, which is just going to soften the cuticle more. So here's one side complete. Run your hands through it and see how easy the hair falls back into position. If it falls back easily, then you've completed it. If it looks good without product, then you've finished. Now we're going to start the same on the other side. Here you'll see I'm using the guideline from the side and working it back into the middle. Being sure to always keep the line soft, we complete our line. And again, if the haircut looks good and looks soft and looks textured without product, you're finished. If you have to force the hair to look good with product, we could argue it's not the right shape. So here we have the underneath shape completed. We have a soft A-line bob with a steep internal graduation. We've utilised practical disconnection to ensure that we maintain the integrity of the perimeter whilst ensuring we had a steep internally graduated shape, accentuating the contrast of the inverted bob. So now we're going to start the top. We're going to start the area around the crown. So here you see I groom upwards, knitting the previous to the new section. I use my razor and cut below that section, scratching the surface of the hair repeatedly, giving a very shattered and broken outline to the haircut. Due to the fact that the lengths will not meet, we need to create a soft shape. The veil has to be shattered. So here you see we're cutting internally, a little like slicing. Now with surface cutting, which creates a tapered feel to the ends of the hair, it makes the ends of this veil more transparent, thereby making them blend in more easily, even though they do not necessarily blend. We take our next section, while still using the razor, we maintain the same elevation and pull the section down and connect in. So now we can start our final zone, the front. So remember, the front zone is going to be the longest zone. So we're just going to choose a parting. So working from the middle of the crown straight to the left recession or right recession, whichever suits the client best, we're going to work a parting. We're going to cut the parting with the less hair first. Using a guideline from the back, all of the sections will be swung back and cut short to long. This over direction, moving the hair from the front back, will accentuate and promote a much longer external shape at the front, thereby helping us to create a more inverted shape. So here we have our inverted bob shape, just ready to be blow dried. We're going to again work with the wrapping technique to control the roots, but a ceramic brush to help create a more natural bend in the lengths and ends and a smoothness to the cuticle. Again, how do we know when the haircut is finished? Remember, it's when the haircut looks great without you having to put any products in. If we have to force it with product, we haven't chose the correct technique, the correct shape, or whatever. But here we have our end result. A beautiful, soft, interchangeable inverted bob, enabling us to capture a short nape bob to a long front length with an internally exaggerated graduated shape without losing the integrity of the external shape. And this completes today's tutorial. Today's tutorial was a request from one of our subscribers. If you have any requests, let us know and we'll try and get that out here for you. We want to thank you so much for watching and we hope to see you again soon. Thank you.